Welcome to our channel TechZen. SpaceX, Elon Musk rocket ship and satellite internet company, has had a roller coaster this month when he was accused of sending a rocket to space. Recent news stated that 40 of its Starlink satellites were destroyed by a solar storm. For as much as $100 million, the company's satellite internet ambitions will be put in jeopardy since they will be vaporized by the Earth's atmosphere. In a nutshell, those dire predictions that a SpaceX rocket will crash into the moon's surface were completely unfounded. Someone else owns the rocket. This blunder serves as a sobering reminder of the mounting problem of the waste we as a planet send into space and the lack of adequate solutions, or not, as the case may be. There is a chance that some of the information we sent into the sky will never return. Because there is no official tracking of our space debris once it departs Earth's orbit, this is especially true. We're leaving it up to a select group of enthusiastic amateur astronomers. Bill Gray is an astronomer who belongs to this group. Project Pluto, the computer program he developed, is used to keep track of celestial bodies and their movements. According to an announcement made by Elon Musk a few weeks ago, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket component is set to fall into the moon. Despite several press reports about Musk-related disasters in recent weeks, any notions that Musk would be taken down a peg were brought tumbling back to Earth a few days ago. According to Gray, the Chinese Chang'e 5T1 booster, which was launched in 2014, is the most likely source of errant debris. For the limited number of people who keep track of these kinds of things on a daily basis, it is not difficult to become a victim of this type of misidentification. According to Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics astronomer Jonathan McDowell, it's difficult to lock down the exact trajectory of an uncontrolled object in space. The trajectory of an object can be drastically altered by a wide range of factors, and even the smallest shifts accumulate over time in space. Moreover, this is the root of the problem. Yet we aren't tracking these things anyway. In general, we have a solid knowledge of what's orbiting the Earth, especially if those objects are transmitting signals back to us, or if they are in a position to harm anything or anyone in Earth's orbit or on the Earth itself. Furthermore, we are aware of the whereabouts of significant scientific instruments such as space telescopes, weather satellites, and probes in deep space. As it is more interesting to see a spent rocket stage drifting around in outer space than it is to worry about. We may only be able to get a sense of what's going on in deep space based on the launch data and observations from astronomers who manage to catch it as it travels through the night sky. As Gray said in an interview that the rocket mix-up took place years ago. His calculations revealed that an object first seen in March 2015 had passed the moon a month earlier than previously thought. Gray was quite positive the object was a spent rocket booster from a recent SpaceX launch because the trajectory matched what he thought was its flight path. Only after he announced that a SpaceX rocket was going to crash into the moon did he understand it wasn't fired toward the moon at all. However, China's Chang'e 5T1 rocket, launched in October 2014, is now the most likely suspect because it was sent to the moon. As McDowell pointed out, an amateur radio satellite from Luxembourg took a trip on that rocket booster and provided a few days of orbital information. Because of this, they realized that they were more likely looking at a Chinese rocket than a SpaceX one. If this all seems like a lot of guessing, fortunately, we're a little more careful when it comes to things that could fall onto the Earth. In addition to the knowledge of what happened to the dinosaurs, one's self-interest plays a significant role in one's decision-making. Hence, the Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, which has been active since 1998, tracks potential harmful objects and, if required, prevents catastrophic collisions. For asteroids and comets that are large enough and close enough to our planet, which is less than 4.6 million miles, are regarded close to pose a hazard, the center keeps an eye on them. In contrast, NASA has notified that it only tracks space debris when it poses a threat to NASA's assets as opposed to other sources. While the Center for Near-Earth Object Studies did make a contribution to identifying the most likely owner of the rocket, the organization only did so in response to the publicity generated by the rocket's impending destruction. Beyond orbital debris, the United States Space Force declined to comment on whether or how it monitors rubbish in lunar orbit, which is a separate issue from orbital junk. McDowell said things that are more than, say, 100,000 kilometers up, Space Force doesn't care. In that it's a sufficiently small amount of traffic, there's not really a risk of them hitting each other. It is unlikely that a man-made item will be the first to fall into the moon, as if it is a plotline device in a James Bond or G.I. Joe movie, however, is not the only time that things are slammed into planets occurs. In November, a rocket was fired into an asteroid to determine if we could use it to deflect asteroids away from the Earth in the event that they ever threaten the planet. NASA also conducted a test in 2009 to determine whether or not there is water in the moon's craters by launching a rocket into a crater. There have also been a handful of spacecraft from other countries that have crashed into the planets they were orbiting after running out of fuel or having completed their missions. When an Israeli company's moon mission came to an end in 2019, the lander slammed into the lunar surface, perhaps spilling thousands of organisms that had been on board. Oops! We had not experienced an unintentional lunar crash since 1971 before this incident. The only one we are aware of isn't one on the market. This is probably not the first time that this has happened, McDowell added. This is the first time we've paid attention long enough to realize what's going on. The Chang'e 5 T1 booster, as we now believe it to be, will strike the moon on March at approximately 7:30 a.m. local time. As it approaches the far side of the moon, it will be invisible for us for the foreseeable future. We always see the same side of the moon because its revolution is synchronized with the Earth's. Some of the objects in lunar orbit may, however, be able to see the crater it leaves behind. This impact will be invisible to the agency's lunar orbiter, but it will search for a crater nonetheless, but finding it may take weeks or even months. McDowell expressed his hope that this occurrence will bring attention to the fact that we know so little about the existence of man-made items in outer space. There should be an international database of all launches, as well as funding for at least one person to monitor them. There are likely to be more countries and private firms on the moon in the next few decades. Therefore, this is going to be critical. In the present, we have a chance to plan for the future. According to McDowell, it's getting confusing out there. Let's get organized. Is this SpaceX rocket really where the forthcoming lunar crash was first put down to? All we can do is speculate. No one seems to know for sure if we'll ever see it again. So that is all for today. Hope you learned something new and wish to stay updated with all the revolutions around the world. If you would like to receive more updates about tech-related news, please like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank you for watching.